5, 4, 3, 2.
Tier 1 performance.
Welcome back to the In and Out Talks podcast, powered by Tier 1 Performance, guys. Today's special guest, professional baseball athlete, John Matulia, drafted out of high school and is a cousin of mine again. So, John, man, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to be with us, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Man, so just for our viewers, just a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your upbringing. Where'd you grow up and what kind of sports were you first introduced to?
Sure, yeah. Bounced around quite a bit at a young age. My dad was a college baseball coach. Actually, he just retired, so he was a college baseball coach my entire life. The majority of our life was spent in a place called Eustis, Florida, which is central Florida, north of Orlando, south of Gainesville. He started a baseball program there, became the athletic director, kind of ran the whole show. Played all those sports growing up, and then really I'd say in middle school, watching my older brother in high school play, varsity baseball, I kind of was like, that's what I want to do and want to be. And so I kind of stopped playing everything else and really just played baseball. But played football, basketball, roller hockey, the whole thing growing up.
That's awesome, man. Our family comes from a great athletic sports pedigree. How was it, growing up with an older brother, growing up with a father who was that much surrounded by baseball? I mean, was there any other option for you, or was it just from the start you were just like, hey, let's do this?
It's funny having a 11-year-old son now to get to kind of see him and what he wants to do and be. I can honestly tell you I loved baseball from day one. I'd have my mom drop me off at my dad's practices. I'd always want to throw. I'd always want to catch, and she would do a lot of it because he was playing and coaching. So, I mean, since I was old enough to remember, playing in Little League, that's all I ever really wanted to do.
Yeah. And I mean, were select sports a thing yet, throughout your middle school to high school years, or was it just all league ball for the most part?
Yeah, I mean, I guess travel ball is the coined phrase now. I remember when I was moving to the big field, so I was probably 11 or 12. I was playing Little League, and then also I was playing on the little field and the big field, and I played on an AAU team. So I guess that was probably late middle school, maybe 7th, 8th grade, to where I guess that it's considered travel ball now, but we just called it AAU, and we just, you'd play regular just double headers against other teams. It wasn't always this big tournament, and like it is now.
So it was more local. It wasn't so much traveling out of state, things like that.
Yeah, we had the benefit of being in Florida to where, perfect game. I can remember playing in perfect game tournaments, but that was 2 hours from the house. It wasn't flying across the country to do it.
Right. No, like you mentioned, I think in Florida for baseball and football specifically, per capita, you have some of the best athletes, along with maybe Texas and California, little parts of Georgia, but we're kind of spoiled in that regard where you don't have to travel far to see some of the best talent in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And, going into your high school years, you went to Eustis High School. Your older brother, Matt, he was already there. Now, you started on varsity your freshman year, correct?
I did. Yeah, I did. Chet Lemon was our coach. Chet played for the White Sox and for the Tigers. He played 18 years in the big leagues, 3-time All-Star. So to have him was pretty amazing. I don't remember how it worked out, but I don't know if he saw me playing somewhere, but I started kind of going out there as an 8th grader working with the team a little bit, and then it was fortunate in the sense I never spent a day on JV. It was just like, hey, you're playing right field for us as a freshman. So it was weird. It was not like, hey, come make the team type thing. It's like, you're our right fielder. So.
And at that point, I mean, you were just doing golf and baseball, correct? In your high school years, or was it just baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I played on the golf team, but that's, we were a small kind of country school, and we would go play these private schools in Orlando. We were not golfers. It was a bunch of baseball guys that were just kind of messing around. So I was on the golf team, but that was more for fun.
Yeah. And playing for Chet Lemon, man, I mean, how was that? Because a lot of guys don't get the experience in high school to play for a former big league all-star like that. I mean, what are some of the greatest things that you were able to take away and learn from him as a coach?
I mean, I'd say the first thing that pops in my mind, that guy is a competitor. Like, he wanted to win at everything he did. It didn't matter. He worked, he was a hard worker, and he made us work extremely hard. He didn't kind of get into the weeds of, a hitting approach and X's and O's, I guess you could say. He just was driven to teach us how to win and compete and do those different things, and we did. So, but I mean, it was great playing for him. I love the guy. I love playing for him.
That's awesome because like my freshman year, I have a similar experience playing for Craig Biggio, and it was the same exact thing. Like most competitive human being I've ever met in my life. He wasn't like he was probably 5'10", 190, wasn't like a physical specimen by any means, and just had a chip on his shoulder his whole life and just worked his tail off. And I mean, that's pretty much how he made it, was just being so, as competitive as he was. He wasn't going to fail.
Yeah, and Chet knew the game. Chet knew the game really well. But it's funny, being in a coach's house, being around my dad my whole life, a lot of the guys that were not as good of players were better at the X's and O's and those types of things just because they had to be. That's the only way that they could compete. It wasn't like they had the natural talent to just go out there and not think about it and just do it.
Correct. And throughout those high school years, I mean, like, would you have considered yourself like a five-tool player? Like, what was how'd you play your game? I mean, what was...
I mean, I would say I had 5 tools, but not at, I forget what the scale was, 2 to 8 or 20 to 80, whatever it is. I mean, I could do a little bit of everything, run, hit, throw, but mainly just kind of being good at all of them. I was kind of, I hit 3-hole in high school, but, when I got into pro ball, I was a leadoff kind of guy. And as I got bigger and stronger, I kind of moved into different places in the lineup, but kind of did everything. I mean, my last year in AAA, I was back to playing center field again. The 2 years prior, I played right field because we had a guy that was going to be, a big league center fielder. So just bounced around.
For sure. Be versatile. Now, like throughout your high school years, I know so was perfect game starting to become a thing? Like how were guys getting recruited during that time period?
So I played for Chet Lemon's Juice, so Chet's team. I remember my sophomore, junior year, I think we played over 100 games one summer. And so, yeah, perfect game it's not the animal it is now. It was really like, and again, hopefully, I don't know what relationship you have with him, but now it just seems like a bigger money grab, whereas back then it was legitimately like, these are the top 100 players in the country, and those were the top 100 players in the country. So I remember we played in a big one down in Jupiter, where the Cardinals and the Marlins share facilities, and it was a perfect game USA tournament. And we ended up winning the whole tournament. I think there was 100-something teams in it. And Justin Upton, Andrew McCutcheon, name the top, 18 guys out of that draft the year I got drafted. We ended up beating them to win the whole thing. So that was kind of cool. But, yeah, so perfect game was different, but it was still around.
Well, I think it's super valuable to be on really good teams in those type of tournaments because you get to play more games in front of scouts. You get to play deeper into tournaments, and everybody's kind of funneling to your games, whereas, you're on a crappy team, you could be like a diamond in the rough, but maybe you get seen for 1 or 2 games max by some scouts. So
every player on our team got drafted.
That's
every
wild.
Player on our team. Yeah,
that's wild. Now, so in your later in high school years, were you just eyeing to get drafted, or did you have any kind of thoughts of playing college ball, or was it I want to get drafted?
No, actually, I wanted to go play college, and I signed with the Gators. I was between LSU and Florida, and I really wanted to go to LSU, but Mom and Dad were like, hey, Florida's an hour and a half up the road, and they were going to let me be a two-way player. I was going to pitch during the week and play outfield on the weekends, and so that was intriguing to me. What ended up happening, I got drafted, and I got taken later than what I actually was projected to go, which was fine, no big deal. I liked the organization that took me, and leaving the names out of it, the recruiting guy from Florida reached out, hey, congrats, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of mentioned hey, my family and I are talking about what's next. Am I going to sign? Am I not going to sign? And he got mad at me and kind of showed out over the phone. I'm like, this is not right. I'm like, I've been dreaming of this my whole life to get drafted. And so from that point, and there was no NIL, there's no jumping around at different schools, transfer portals and all that kind of stuff. And my dad was a college coach to where he'd been on the recruiting tour his whole life. And so he was like, if this is where you're signed to go, this is where you're going to go. So I immediately like, I don't want to play for this guy. Like I never saw that when he was trying to sign me, and now I kind of saw his true colors. So he, in effect, pushed me into signing. He doesn't know that, and the guy's still actually around the state today. But the way he handled that whole thing is what made me end up signing with the Rays.
So was he angry at you for considering to sign?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Basically, like, I can't believe you're even considering this. Your mom and dad are educators. Your dad's a college coach. Like, this is the worst decision you've ever made. Blah, those kind of things. And in fairness, there's a lot of merit and truth to that. I think ultimately, if you ask me what would have been better for me baseball career-wise, it'd have been to go to Florida at the end of the day. I don't regret what I have done, but it would have been better to go develop, strength coach, eat well. I mean, minor leagues are tough.
It's a grind, and I think that's why we see a lot more guys going the college route now because of the facilities, the nutritionists, the strength programs. It's like you can almost be MLB ready nowadays after leaving like a Power 5 SEC college. It's like you're 1 or 2 years in the minors, and then you're in the big leagues if you're like a top.
And they don't put you through the same grind because
right.
If you've played 3 years at Florida, played in the World Series, done all that different stuff, and you come and you start an A-ball, hit good, you're gonna play how I guess that summer you play good in A-ball, you're gonna start in Double A the next year, you hit good, they're gonna move you up fast.
Well, and it's years of just playing 4 games a week instead of 7 games a week, so your body's not as maybe broken down, possibly.
I would start camp. I'd start camp at 195. I'd come home at like 175.
Now, like, so you had to choose between like LSU or Florida, right? And I mean, like, maturity-wise, do you feel like you were ready to like get drafted? I mean, because you were drafted by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in the 10th round in 2005, correct?
Correct.
So walk us through that process. I mean, what was draft day like? I mean, what were the phone calls like that you had with scouts? And did like MLB scouts come over, talk with you and the family? I mean, what was that process like?
Yep. So I played a bunch of different like showcase teams. One of them was with the Devil Rays scout. Kevin Elfring was his name. So I actually played, I think it was like the East Coast showcase or whatever. They just take a handful of guys from 20 guys from Florida, and we go stay up there and do that. So they definitely had a lot of interest in me. Another stubborn, dumb thing I did was I told half the teams I didn't want to pitch. So I was a left-handed pitcher. A lot of teams wanted me to be a pitcher, which was another mistake. I should have been more open to pitching because there's a lot more longevity in pitching. It wasn't like what you see on TV with football guys draft day like that. It was kind of low-key. I knew the top 5 teams that were interested in me, and I think I just got a phone call from that scout that I was on that team with, like, hey, we're going to take you right now. So I wasn't like sitting around. I wasn't sitting around waiting for it. I was just having a normal day.
So you had an idea of like what organization? I mean, like what were the 5 organizations that like were they small market teams, big market teams?
The Braves were one of them. The Tigers were one of them. The Rays were one of them. A lot of the area scouts that were always at my dad's game. So I'm trying to think who else. I mean, the Braves, the Tigers, and the Rays were kind of the 3 bigger teams that I knew had a lot of interest in me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And from moving forward, I guess like from draft day, what proceeds? Like the contractual agreement, you basically getting ready to go to rookie ball. I mean, what was that like?
Yeah. A lot of guys have agents, and so their agents handle the whole negotiation. Again, we didn't kind of do that first time. Mom and dad didn't know any better, and they, just if you tell this guy so what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. So that it didn't take very long to negotiate. Worked out the signing bonus, and then, I mean, it was like 3 days later. I'm heading down to. We were in St. Pete at the time. We moved to Port Charlotte, but we were in St. Pete, and there's a thing called extended spring training. So for all the guys that don't make it out of camp, they just basically do spring training for a couple more months. So I jumped right in, dropped me off at a hotel, and next morning I was, at the spring training complex, locker full of uniforms, and figured out, here you go.
And that was with Princeton, correct? Where you started?
So I was in that spring training for a couple weeks, and then Princeton, West Virginia was my first assignment. So that season started. That was rookie ball. And there was a ton of levels back when I don't even know what it's like now, but there were so many levels back when I played. But Princeton was my first assignment.
And it was later in the summer or like later that fall? Or was it?
It was the middle of the summer, so
Okay.
it was June. I would say I think sometime in June. And it's funny. You show up to Princeton, West Virginia, and there's nothing there, and the stadium's like okay. And here you were going to go to an SEC school, great stadium, facilities, all that stuff. You're like, man, what did I do?
Like these stadiums are just barely better than your high school stadium. It's just
I mean, it's better than that, but it's
yeah.
not. It's not an SEC stadium. I mean, once you get to Double A, I shouldn't say that. A ball and up, the stadium's got really nice. But your first couple stops were kind of like what you see on like Bull Durham or something.
Yeah. Well, and so this initial spring training league and then also rookie ball, is it predominantly like high school guys and then like guys who just got drafted out of college?
It was an assortment. So a lot of Dominican, Cuban, Venezuelan players. So those guys sign when they're super young. So a lot of those younger guys, and then you got to have enough players to field teams and do stuff. So there was a lot of like fifth year seniors that were never going to get out of rookie or A ball, but you had to have them to field the kind of team. And then where I went, once more guys started signing, like some guys held out for 2 months to get a bigger signing bonus. Then those guys would show up and they'd come straight to Princeton where I was. And then sometimes guys would, get sent home because of that. So
So a grind, to say the least, in
yeah,
minor league system. And so you're busting everywhere the first few years, right? Until you get to AAA ball, you're pretty much busting everywhere, and then you start taking planes.
and
stuff.
even then you don't fly a ton just because they set it up to where there's the fields are fairly close. In AAA they get 2 buses, so everyone has their own spot. You can sleep, that kind of thing. But AA, single A, it's not like that. But yeah, you're busting everywhere. I remember leaving Montgomery to come down here and play the Jacksonville Suns. So it's a long bus. I mean, probably a 9-hour bus ride. I get down here, we go straight to the field, and the manager calls me in the locker room or in his office and said, "Hey, you're going to AAA." So I rode the entire bus down here. Then I got to jump on a flight in Jacksonville. I fly to Norfolk. I play 3 games in Norfolk, and they say, "Hey, you're going back to AA." I fly back to Jacksonville, catch the bus, and ride it back to Montgomery. It's terrible.
So needless to say, your food and your nutrition and your sleep is not on point.
I mean, it was great. It was great getting to go to AAA. And then a couple of weeks later, I went back up there for the rest of the season. But that was tough. In fact, Sarah, we were married at the time, and she drove down from Atlanta. She flew into Jacksonville. I literally just got to see her at the airport. We drove around in the car at the airport, and then I flew out. That was it.
Hi and bye.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. So I think this is like the part of pro ball that like everybody doesn't know about, right? Like it's the grind. It's behind closed doors. It's not romanticized whatsoever. It's like, dude, this is a grind.
Yeah, I mean, like we went to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp game, and Keaton brought some buddies, whatever. They're all watching these guys play, and they don't realize that they're about to get on a bus and drive 8 hours to the next place that they're going to play. We're the ones getting there to enjoy it, and then sleep, nutrition, whatever, a tweaked hammy, or you just don't feel good. It's just one of those things.
What was the biggest transition for you to make moving from like literally high school to professional baseball? I mean, like obviously you faced some really high level high school talent, but what was that like for you?
I had a good rookie year, so it didn't seem a whole lot different. I think I was naive to the fact that it was going to get harder. I just oh, that's easy. They throw the ball over the plate, you hit it type thing. And then you have an off season and you work on things and you lift and you do all that, and then you go to spring training. I mean, I would say the biggest thing, and I mean it makes sense because all these guys have the tools to play in the big leagues. They just don't all get there. It's just the mental grind. And if you're off a little bit and I'm hitting leadoff, I'm gonna have 5 at bats. It's like you got to lock back in and figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? So I'd say mentally it was the toughest thing. And then once pitchers can locate and if they know you can't hit something, you're gonna get it every single time.
Yeah, the scouting reports I'm sure are just next level at that right? From a hitting perspective, right? Like, how did your approach change going from level to level? And if so, I mean, what was your approach during pro ball?
I mean, just a stock approach would be, I know who I'm facing that night. If it's a lefty, righty, whatever it is, I know what pitches they have and what they'll throw. And then early in the count, it's not even guessing. It's, people think guys, it's like you go to the game, these guys are throwing 98. How are you going to hit that? Well, because they guess. I mean, the approach is I'm looking middle of the way fastball early in the count. If I get it, I better do something with it. And then late in the count, you're going to adjust to where, you've got to kind of get on the plate, choke up, and look, look for anything really. I remember it like yesterday. I was in Double-A, and Desmond Jennings, who made it to the big leagues with us, who was our center fielder, he hit a ball. He smoked a ball over center field, and he came back in the dugout. I'm like, hey man, what was your approach right there? He's like, I was looking for the slider. I'm like, okay, well that was a fastball. He goes, yeah, I don't know. I was looking for the slider and just hit the fastball. So like, the fact of the matter is, the guys that are really, really good, they're just good. They don't know what. I mean, how do you look off speed and adjust to a fastball? It doesn't make any sense.
That was my next question, dude. Is because like, are most of these guys are most of these guys who make it to the big league level, are they just crazy? Like their reactionary skills are just next level? Is that what it is?
Now I can think of another guy named Stephen Vogt. He's the manager for the, I guess they're the Guardians, but the Indians. And he was a fifth-year senior, signed out of a school in California. That guy just had a great hitting approach. He wasn't the best defensive guy. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to. He was a fifth-year senior. He wasn't supposed to make it, but every time he played, he hit. And so he did have an amazing approach. He was a great two-strike hitter. I think the short answer is yes, like almost instinctive for the guys that make it.
Yeah. And I'm sure like the more you study guys, the more you study film, the access to what they have now, sure, maybe they're sitting certain pitches. Like if like in the past they remember facing this guy, okay, I remember like the second pitch of the at bat, he threw me a lefty on lefty curveball or something like that. So maybe that's what you're looking for that particular at bat, right?
I'll give you an example. This one I actually started hitting lefties really well. And in Double-A, they did it all the time. They would get ahead with a fastball. The next pitch was going to be a spinner. And if it was coming at my shoulder, I would swing. I started hitting home runs off lefties when I realized they're going to get ahead 0-1. Here comes the slider, curveball, whatever it is. And if you can pick up the dot and it's coming at your shoulder, it's going to be a perfect pitch to hit. If it's not, you got to take it. It's a ball. So I think there's a lot more guessing or looking for specific pitches at those higher levels than people realize.
Yeah, no, I agree because hence the reason why you see guys taking fastballs right down the middle because they weren't looking for that pitch,
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So that's why I try to explain to guys who are like, why didn't he swing at that? Who like don't know the game within the game as much, right? It's just like, oh, he wasn't looking for that pitch. Like he's probably cool with going down, looking this at bat, and the next at bat, he's probably going to hit a home run off of the pitch that he was looking for.
Yeah.
For 2 at bats, which is, I guess that's like, yeah, that's just next level kind of approach.
And when you're going good, like again, you play 140 something games. When you're going good, you're seeing the ball out of the guy's hand. That's how it is. When you're not going good, like I can't see it. I don't know where it is.
That ball turns into like an aspirin tablet versus a beach ball.
Yeah.
Man, so off season, like what did a standard typical off season look like for you? Were you going back home? Were you doing?
Yeah, I went back to, I guess for a while I would go back to Eustis, take probably a month to not do a whole lot, and then get into the weight room, and then I don't even remember when I started throwing and hitting again, but yeah, basically do hitting lessons, make a little bit of money, have a little bit of time off, and then actually my first couple years I went to what was it called? They called it Instructional League, Instructs, and it's basically for your younger high school guys or again foreign players, and it's like spring training, but it's in the fall. So I also did that. My best off seasons were when I lived in Atlanta, and Uncle Mark got me hooked up with Georgia Tech and their strength coach. They had probably 20 pro guys that worked out there, and so it was a very kind of organized. 10 o'clock at the weight room. Here's your stuff, and then we go to Tech's baseball field and hit and do all that stuff.
That's awesome. Was it relatively? I mean, I know you worked with a sprint guy, correct? To work on speed and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was a track coach, exactly.
Okay. No,
he was down in Merritt Island. I think he played at Florida State, football and track, something like that. And I don't know how my dad knew him, maybe like through FCA or something. But yeah, we would drive over there, I think twice a week and work on our speed.
And when instructs, would that start in like November, October,
That
November?
sounds right. November sounds right. It's been so long, man. I can't remember all that stuff. But
Are most guys at the minor league and big league level, are they playing winter ball? Like, unless they're just like been a seasoned veteran?
um, the AAA guys, maybe like your up and down kind of big leaguer that's on the 40 man, but not playing in the big leagues all year. He would. I mean, I my last year I played winter ball. I played in the Dominican. It was a lot of fun, but it just depends. Some guys want to go home, get rest, and lift and do stuff. Other guys, again, like for me, I went and did it because my contract was up with the Rays. That was a way to maybe go get signed by somebody. Um, but it was great. They pay you cash, and it's a lot of fun.
No, because I think I last remember you playing for the Columbus Catfish, was it? Um, I think you
The-
played at Lakeland. You played against the Lakeland Flying Tigers, and that was like the last in-person game I got to watch you play in, I
Okay,
believe.
that would have been that had either been the Vero Beach Rays or the Charlotte Stone Crabs. But yeah, we
It was
played a lot.
Charlotte. It was Charlotte. And I remember in specific the game I went to go watch you play. It was the craziest comeback. I think you guys were down by 10 runs in like the fifth or sixth inning. Came back and went to extras. I think you guys ended up winning. I was like, oh, I guess it's just minor league baseball right there.
I don't remember that game, but
I just remember because like I only got to watch you play a handful of times, and so I was like, okay, I think I was like in eighth or ninth grade or something like that. But no, that was fun.
gotcha.
You on, Jordan, or are you able to talk?
Yeah, I think I am on finally now, right? Sorry
John,
about that.
Jordan, John.
Nice to
Hey,
meet you.
how are you?
I've been listening in like a creeper, but at y'all's story, but no, I'm glad to be on with y'all finally. Especially as a fellow outfielder. Huge fan.
Well, and Jordan's a little bit smarter than me, so he probably has better questions for you too. At least the ones that I've missed.
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of questions. So when you were at high school playing high school ball to pro ball, was the jump in between like going from playing high schoolers to grown men in the league? How big of that like culture shock or how big of a jump did you have to make in your own game just to get on par, or was it easier than you thought?
So because you don't go straight to the big leagues or jump in and play, big league spring training games, you're basically at the same kind of skill level in theory as the other guys. It was a little different just because, some guys were 6 years older than me, and then, again, the Dominican players that we had were older, but I don't think you think a whole lot about it. You kind of just jump in and play. I think you feel like you belong there, and so you just play.
I heard also we've had I think one other guy that got drafted out of high school on our like Dre Nelson, he got drafted out of high school, but he talks about like mentorship being a big key factor while he was there, or lack thereof. Did you have a guy that you kind of leaned on towards mentorship, or did you become that guy later on in your career?
I played in a great organization. The Rays were a great organization to where really their development is through, and we don't call them coaches, you call them by their name in pro ball, but basically our managers and coaches all kind of came alongside of you, especially kind of I'd say the higher draft picks. I mean, that's what their job is effectively. And so I can't think of specific players other than all the guys that I roomed with, Nevin Ashley, who caught in the big leagues a little bit, Craig Albernaz, who's now the manager for the Orioles. He was one of my roommates too. Um, but yeah, so I mean, you're around so many good players that you can kind of pick things from. When you go to spring training, there are some big leaguers that'll come down, and same idea. But I can't think of any pieces of like nuggets that they gave me. But you're kind of picking up stuff the entire time.
Okay, and then probably one of my last few questions. When you were playing in the minors, going from single A or rookie ball all the way to triple A is no easy feat, no matter what round you're drafted in, right? Is there any key adjustment or maybe key game or key play that kind of switched it on for you to have success in minor league ball? Because ultimately, it seems like everyone that's there is kind of preying on your downfall so that they can have the opportunity to shine. So is there anything like that
No,
that
I'd
happened?
say one of the things that I wish I did a better job of was staying healthy. If you can stay healthy and put together a full season, you're going to have good I mean, in theory, you're going to have numbers by the end of the year, but you can't hit 30 doubles if you're not playing all the whole time. So one is just staying healthy. So the nutrition, the working out, that thing. Um, and then was the question the most difficult level or what the key?
No, it was like, was there any key adjustments or key
Uh,
games that like turned it around for you to make you have success that you thought of?
I can't think of any one specific. No, I think once you get to double A is the jump. I mean, single A to double A. Once you kind of get to double A, you're playing against guys that could be in the big leagues tomorrow, and all have the same, pitches, et cetera, that can compete on the big league level. And so once you get to double A and you compete there a little bit, that's kind of when you're like, okay, I can do this. You know.
So, are you like I mean, speaking to your whole family, you are all pretty regimented, pretty disciplined. Did your off-season training have anything to do with how you prepared going from double A to triple A? Or is there no way to
Yeah,
prepare more?
I can give a lot of it to Georgia Tech, their strength coach. I mean, there were a lot of big leaguers that were from Georgia Tech, and so I got to work out with those guys in the off season. And their strength and conditioning coach was great. I can't think of his name right now. I can look it up, but he was a great strength and conditioning coach, and that kind of got me, I'd say, in a good spot with my strength, my speed, et cetera, to compete and I guess make it AAA that year is when I did.
Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive.
And would you say that the biggest difference between the guys who make it and don't make it is the space between the ears and then also just staying healthy?
Yeah, I'm gonna let my dog out real quick. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know?
Yeah, I would say there's probably three things. One is the space between your ears. That's probably the most important thing. 'Cause if you have all the tools, you can hit, run, throw, etc. It's going to be between the ears for sure. And that's a combination of learning the game, having an approach, but then also like a confidence, a quiet confidence. I mean, guys can lose their confidence, and it's just like they can no longer play. So it's having a self belief as well. Two is staying healthy. Like you're just not going to get signed by other teams if you can't stay healthy. Like let's just say you're a fourth outfielder, which that would have been my path if I re-sign. Would be like, hey, you're going to be a fourth outfielder in AAA. Well, if I have a bad track record of staying healthy, there's no reason to sign that guy. You know what I mean? Or if you're not healthy, you can't put up numbers. So that's what happens to a lot of guys. And then the third thing I'd say is just having a spot available to move up. There's some guys that make it to the big leagues. I'm like, how did that guy get to the big leagues? And there's other guys that I feel like should, but they just were in the wrong organization. They just didn't have a place to go.
They're just kind of in the right place at the right time. Sounds like sometimes because you being in the Rays organization, like especially that was the beginning of like their trajectory upwards to being a postseason ball club. So it's like, and I always commend the Rays for doing the most with the least. I feel like they make it further with like the lowest payroll, with one of the lowest payrolls in the big leagues than anybody else. And I would say like a lot of that goes to their scouting, to their development throughout the minor league system. I
And
would
they give
say.
their guys time. I mean, again, they gave me plenty of time. I had plenty of opportunity. And so when they draft and sign guys, and I have to look at the front office and who's still there. But when I was there, it was a great it seems still to be a great organization. They gave guys time to develop and the whole 9 yards. And they do. They grow from within. They don't go out and buy players.
That's awesome.
And going back to injury prevention, you see a lot of guys getting injured, and especially like kids nowadays getting injured pretty common. Do you think injury prevention is a skill that needs to be learned at a very young age, or learning how to recover, learning how to maintain body health overall without overextending yourselves? Because I have a couple of minor league trainers that I worked with in college, or they were my trainers when I was in college, and they're telling me they teach me certain things every year when I reconvene with them. They're like, when you're in the field and you're going 100% and you have that adrenaline, your body's actually going like 110%. And if you haven't stretched or put your arm in that position before, and then you immediately go 110% at that time, that's how the injury happens. That's where the tear occurs because you didn't prepare your body for it, or your body's never been in that position under that extreme amount of stress. So I guess my question is, do you think it is important for you to learn how to rest and recover and prevent injury, especially as a younger player?
I'd say absolutely, and it's important to learn, the shoulder stability things, all the things that you do to protect your shoulders, knees, etc. The problem in pro ball, or let me say in college, it seems like better strength and nutrition than the minor leagues. And it's gotten better probably since I've been out of the game. Way better strength and nutrition, and you're not playing every single day. So it seems like in college, it's easier to do that. Once you get into pro ball and you play every single day, you're just not going to feel good every single day. And then literally you have 2 days off a month if you're lucky. So you're going to go lift at 9:30 in the morning after you got done playing at, probably got to sleep at midnight, get up and go lift. Well, and then we got a game tonight. So it's like, it's almost impossible throughout the season, you're just going to break down.
Yeah, and walk us through a day in the life. So you're saying that you go to bed at midnight most nights in pro ball. You're waking up at like 7, 8 a.m. Is the first thing you're doing like eating and lifting?
So honestly, guys are sleeping until 10 or 11 because it's so hard to fall asleep after you've been playing all night. So let's just have it a normal where it's a home series. I'm probably getting up at 9:30, probably getting some breakfast, sliding into the field maybe 1 or 2. Some days I'd go lift, or some days we had weights at the field too. Some days I'd lift there. I didn't lift maybe like 2 days a week, something like that, 3 days a week. You're just trying to hang on. You're not really trying to.
You're not building muscle or strength.
Exactly.
You're just
Trying to maintain.
That's right. And then you'd play, and then again, it's like Groundhog Day. You try to fall asleep, get up and do it again the next day. So, and then the road's tough because like if it's our last game and we're down in Mobile and the game gets done at 10:30, shower, eat. Now we're busing it back to Montgomery, and it's a 4-hour ride. So sorry,
That's it. Yeah. No worries.
Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. I was just gonna say, now that brings up a good point. With the traveling, and basically you described the baseball grind, right?
Yeah.
Away games, just playing every day, and a lot of high schoolers and some of these kids that want to go play college, especially JUCO, don't really know what it is, and it'll test your love for the game.
Yeah.
How was that? How was dealing with that mentally? Because overall, that's all it is mental. Because you're primed physically to do it. You've been going through it, but how is that mental grind?
It's tough, man. So I would say that I'm not gonna say I fell out of love with the game, but just like anything, once you get paid to do something, it becomes a job. And like when someone can check how your night went, like if I have a bad day at the office, it doesn't get posted on the internet, or my dad doesn't get to see I have a bad day at the office. Whereas playing pro ball, I'm 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Everybody knows that. So that can be tough. And then like you said, man, just like to have one day just to do nothing, it doesn't roll around. You're playing all summer, so it is definitely taxing physically and mentally.
Do you feel like that the best ball players that you played around also just had short-term memories? They were able to control their emotions very well, like get hit in the mouth 3 days in a row and then come back out the next day and think that they were God's gift to the world still, and they were just able to basically overcome that?
I was going to mention that, and one of the most important things that young players can learn when they're jumping into this is just no high or no low. So if you're 3 for 3 with a homer, you're the same guy as 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And you gotta trick yourself at times, because there's a level of, hey, I'm seeing the ball really good right now, and this is never going to end. I'm so good. And all of a sudden it ends, and you're like, I can't see the ball right now. I'm never ever going to get hit again. So you gotta kind of play that mental game with yourself, where it's like, I don't care how good it's going or how bad it's going. I got to be the same guy all the time.
I love that because it's so applicable to the real world, like business, sales, etc. It's like sometimes, like at my job, I'll go 0 for 10 on sales and not sell anything for like a week and a half, and then I go 5 for 5, 6 for 6, 7 for 7, and like I kind of I call it Joe Flacco mindset, because like I'm also a Ravens fan. He's like emotionless. Like this dude, he could have thrown like a game-winning touchdown pass, and he looks exactly the same as if he threw 3 picks. So, I just kind of I think it's very important that players learn from that, and it's like the more you can just breathe, let go, realize like not take yourself too seriously, but just serious enough, and not get too emotional about things. I think that's like super important.
And I
Like
mean, we all have personality types. I'm definitely not that guy. I am a high low guy. Like I just have been that. And you try to write. The idea would be to your teammates in the clubhouse, you gotta be the same guy no matter what. I can't be high or low, but you do have to ride. Like, man, if it's going good and you're feeling good about it, ride that thing as long as you can ride it. And then you got to find a way to get out of the bad one when you're going the other direction.
Yeah, like I think that's such a good point because I mean I can't remember Mitch. Me and Mitch played high school ball together. Mitch bats 500. I can't remember a single time I ever seen him strike out. But like I know there's definitely scenarios where like he could be like, man, I can't believe I had a bad game. Like he talks about Marty, his dad, getting on him on a game in high school, and I was like, I don't remember that game at all. Like I just remember I played bad. I was like, but I never remember. And I tell my 12-year-old kids that I coach all the time. I'll go, in retrospect, no one's gonna care or remember. You, the only one who remembers is you. Like I am haunted by like the errors I made in the field. Like I think I made one error every year in college, and it haunts me to this day. And I don't think anyone even remembers that. But I remember it word for word. But like, and then at the same time, I'm also the same kid that hit a bomb at Texas A&M. Like, you can't ever get down when you have those low lows. Like, I almost laugh at myself sometimes because of how serious I take it when I'm at that low point. And then when I get that high, I'm off to the races.
And for parents out there, John, I mean, now you're on the other side of things, right? Like, what's your advice to parents out there? Is it like after the game ends, you just don't talk about the game, right? Or what? How do you approach it from a father's standpoint?
I would tell them your kid's not going to be in the big leagues, so get over it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of blunt, but honestly, I had to have a meeting, and I'm the assistant coach, and I'm the worst assistant coach ever, just because I'm busy with my job. And the guy I play with, the guy I coach with, Tyler Barnett, he played for my dad, played for the Braves. His dad was the head coach at Flagler College. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, so very good baseball mind. He loves it, and I've never met pro ball guys that like are so into it. Well, he's into it. He loves it, and he does it for his kid, and that's why I coach. But we had to have a meeting, and I'm like, parents, you're making this not fun for your 11-year-old. They're not going to be in the big leagues. They're not going to remember this. What they're going to remember is their buddies and work ethic and doing those different things. So, like, take some pressure off them. Second, y'all have never hit before. None of you parents have ever hit. It's hard. It's hard. I don't know if you know that, but it's hard.
So hard.
They're not trying to strike out.
And it's even harder when you're on their back the entire time, right? So I mean, that would be it. Is like, have fun. Baseball teaches you life. It's a game that teaches you life. Let's use it as a tool to do that. If guys are going to make it, they're going to make it. If they're not going to make it, they're not going to make it. Just, move on.
That's some sound advice. I think a lot of parents probably need to hear that because, I mean, we deal with parents all the time who think their kids are going to be the next, Barry Bonds. And I'm like, that's just not the case.
I mean, how do you, because obviously you've competed at the ultimate level, the highest level. How do you separate that level of competition from coaching or training, your kid? Like, as far as like mindset, because I think that's what parents have a lot of issues doing.
Like, I don't get to hit or throw anymore, so like it doesn't get me fired. Like, it doesn't get me fired up. I literally just do it for Keaton. I want him to enjoy the game and play. But as far as him winning or losing, now if I go to the golf course by myself and I'm playing guys, then I get fired up because it's on me. Now, do I want them to lose? No, I want them to compete. But dude, if they lose, I don't care. I mean,
might get your Sunday back.
It's 11-year-old baseball. He's got rings and trophies in the back of my truck. He never even took them out of the truck. We leave and he just leaves them in there. So it's like they move on after the game.
Yeah, I always tell these parents, I was like, it's important that they, especially when they're young, like from ages like, 6 to 11, I was like, it's important that they, one, learn the game as much as they can, and two, they have to still be falling in love with the game. Like, your kid still has to be falling in love with it, because you get like 10-year-olds, that'll come to me, and then, I'm not even sure if they want to be here with a one-on-one lesson with me, or if they want to come to practice. I was like, hey, they're coming to talk because they just don't want to be here, so they're just goofing off. I was like, if they're not loving the game, I was like, one, I don't know why you're spending all this money. Please spend it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll still take it, but like, please, like, this is not what it's supposed to be used for. And then like, two, if they're not in love with the game, find something that they are in love with, because they're just gonna resent it, and then by default they'll resent you. Like, it's just the way it is. I mean, my dad thought my brother was gonna be the big baseball star, and then Ethan got hit in the face once, and after that he was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, flat out. Well,
Basketball it is.
basketball to the day he dies after that. And then he was just like, I'm out. And then, like, my dad thought I was going to be a basketball star. And then I ended up falling in love with baseball more, And, like, that was just one thing. If they want to, they will. And
That's right.
I think every kid knows that. If a kid wants something, they'll let you know. I mean, you can guide them, you can push them, but, I mean, you can't. Then that's where parents draw that gray line. They push them too much. And now the kid has completely drawn back and reverted, and then forget your baseball dreams or your parents of cheering him on in college. Like, you won't even get to see it in high school
Yeah.
because he's done.
Yeah, I think that parents need to take a step back and say, what are we doing this for? Like, what's the purpose of this? And again, for me, with Keaton, it's learning work ethic. It's learning how to be on a team, and maybe you don't like all your teammates. Well, you're not going to like everyone at the office, right? So it's learning how to be a teammate. It's learning how
Dealing
to
with
fail.
failure.
Yeah, all that stuff. So it's if he never plays high school or college baseball, I don't care one bit. If he wants to, then he has enough talent. If he wants to do it, he can definitely do it. But that's up to him.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to make that decision now.
No.
Yeah, and that's what some parents need to absolutely get through their mind as well. Like, they don't have to be determined to be a D1 player at the age of 10.
And I don't want to say that you can't work hard, but everyone has windows of how good they can be. There are some guys that are never going to be good enough to play in college. There are going to be some guys that are never going to be good enough to play pro ball. And that's fine. Work as hard as you can work and get there. But there are some guys that are not going to work very hard, that are talented, and they're going to make it to the big leagues. I saw it with my own two eyes. They're born to play.
There are exceptions to the rules. Yeah.
Do you think that at that point it's just like they just continue playing because they know they're so good at it? They're just like, they don't really have the love for it necessarily as some other guys do?
I'll use Desmond Jennings, and DJ did love the game, but he was a wide receiver going to Alabama, 5-star wide receiver going to Alabama. He had never played summer baseball never. He was a football guy. And the Rays ended up signing him, and that was his first ever real year of playing baseball. And he made it to the bigs because he's a freak. I mean, he's just a freak. So
what would you say is, like, your one piece of advice for kids that do have that ambition, that want to go play college? What's your piece of advice for that? And then what is your piece of advice for guys that are in the minors trying to make it to the bigs?
Yeah, I mean, my dad taught me this and told me, I mean, I think I've voiced my goals. Mitch was asking about when did I decide I want to play baseball. I was in middle school watching my older brother. But again, being around my dad's teams and being, a baseball rat kind of, he basically said, if you don't do something every single day to make yourself a better player, you're not going to get any better. And two, if you're not doing it, someone else is. And he always used the Dominican players as an example. But so very early on, I was probably in 6th grade. It was like every single day. If we're on a summer vacation at the beach, we took a net and a tee. And so every single day, probably from 6th grade on, I did something to become a better player. So if their goal is to play at a high level or be the best, then it's not a, hey, now and again. It's every day you wake up, and that's the grind.
And then what about for minor leaguers trying to go to the bigs?
I'd say same idea. Probably working on the mental side of the game, making sure you're getting stronger, you're getting faster. Because, I mean, once you get to that level, staying healthy, figure out what it is that your body needs to stay healthy. Not everyone's body is the same. And really, it's funny, the strength training in pro ball, it's all prevention. It's all about not getting hurt. None of it's about getting bigger and stronger, at least when I played.
But I was gonna ask, like, has that changed since, do you think? Like, do you think guys are now getting bigger and stronger in the offseason prior to season to prevent it?
So we still, in the offseason, I try to get bigger and stronger. I'm sure it's changed. I've been out of the game for so long, I can't even tell you kind of what it is. now, but when I played, your off season was your chance to rest and then get bigger, faster, stronger. And then during the season, it's just maintain. So, but I'd say that for minor league guys who are trying to make the leap, figure out what it is that you got to get better at, and then stay healthy.
And lastly, like, what's your take on today's like game of baseball, specifically at the college and the pro levels? I mean, obviously the pitching has gotten so much better. I feel like two guys are now throwing things at 99 miles an hour that aren't really supposed to move the way that they are. And what are your take on the approaches of the hitters nowadays?
One is I love the new robot umpire thing where if it's a ball, it's a ball. If it's a strike, it's a strike. I love that.
Yeah,
I wish I had that when I played just because there's nothing you can do. If the guy's calling it, this far off the plate, it's like he's throwing 95 and you're calling this far off the plate. So I love that. I think that's going to change the game quite a bit in a good way, in my opinion. Just an opinion. The game has changed quite a bit. It seems like they're really drafting spin rates a lot. Again, I don't know a bunch about it, but every guy that pitches now is throwing 95, and they all have nasty stuff, and the whole bullpen's loaded with guys. It seems like everyone's just trying to hit home runs. I tell my players all the time, and Jordan, you probably deal with this with your guys, but I'm like, hey, you're not Aaron Judge. So he's 6'7", and he's an avatar, and so he can drop his bat and go like this, and the ball goes out in right field at Yankee Stadium. But you're 4'0", and you're going to play second base the rest of your career. So find a way to get the ground and get them the line.
Play your game.
That was my way of saying the game's changed quite a bit. I mean, the guys are trying to hit home runs. Each organization is different. I really appreciated my organization. Joe Madden was the manager at the time, and all that bleeds down through the minor leagues. But, like, hit and runs, we were gap to gap. It wasn't like your traditional hit the ball on the ground, hit and run. He wanted you to drive the ball because if it's a hit and run and you drive the ball in the gap, the guy's scoring. It was starting to change while I was kind of in pro ball, but now it just seems like hit homers and throw hard.
Here's my take too, John, is that like Matt taught me this when I was like in high school. I went to a Florida State baseball camp. He goes, Mitch, with how fast these guys are throwing, you don't need to swing 110%. You just have to hit the barrel of the bat with the ball, and it's going to go. And so, like, do you think these guys are trying to swing out of their shoes instead of just like, hey, if a guy's throwing 99, if I just make solid contact and produce backspin, it's going to go.
Yeah, it's going to jump.
So, like, I'm just like, dude, I see these hitters, and I'm like, swing under control. Like, if you can swing as hard as you want, but if you're not like Aaron Judge and you miss the barrel, you miss the sweet spot, it's not going to go.
Yeah, and
that's
what we worked on probably most is being just short to the ball. So how do I get my barrel to the ball short? I have more time to see it, and then the ball does jump. If a guy's throwing 95, you don't have to do a whole lot other than put it on the middle of the barrel, and it's gonna go. So absolutely, the whole idea is get stronger so you're quicker, and then two, work on your swing, get it shorter to where it's getting straight to the baseball. It's in the zone quick, it stays in the zone a long time, and that way you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah, I kind of say the same thing. I teach my kids, like, instead of saying short to the ball, because as a kid I really didn't understand what that meant, being short to the ball. So I always say from like point A to point B, the most direct line to the ball. I always say, if your bat's here, the ball's here, you want to time it up to where you come right across. I almost say, like, guys, you want to feel like it's coming across your chest, but that's just a mental exaggeration because kids like to come down into their gut and then launch it up. But I just say almost like you're slashing across your chest from point A to point B to get that across. And that's how you get that direct line of contact straight to the ball. And then, as you know, when you put like kids, or even when you train on like pitching machines, the velocity of the RPMs is like, it's three wheels, putting pressure on that ball. Gravity is not affecting it by the time it gets to its destination. So if you're even remotely underneath it, or your swing path is like 80% correct, it's a foul ball. It's a pop up. Yeah. It's a rollover. You got to be direct, and like that's like my biggest issue, because you get those 11-year-olds that will hit off the tee and they think that it touches the top of the net. They're a big dog and they're gonna hit bombs. And then we're pulling hat tricks and an 11U AA tournament, and I don't know what, and you don't know what to do with that, So
I can tell you this: swing, the whole hitting swing has changed since I've stopped playing. And it's a lot of it's just the way guys talk about it. And golf has now helped me understand that, because what a pro golfer says he's doing is never what he's like. If you watch old school
physically doing,
it's never what he's doing. So like I think about A-Rod and some of those other guys that were in the big leagues when I was young coming up. Well, he always talked about swinging straight down basically. And if you watch him swing, he doesn't swing straight down.
Doesn't swing like that at all.
Flat. And so I try to explain to my players, I'm like, hey guys, a lot of what my feels were and what I was thinking, like I thought about being down to the ball. I wasn't. My barrel was flat the whole time. But that's how I had to feel to shorten up my swing,
Right.
if that makes sense. Now guys don't even, they're just like, forget it. We're going to drop this thing and swing up.
I mean, but like that's what I learned. Like mirror drills. Like it sounds so basic and old school, but like for me, until I got in front of a mirror, I'm thinking, oh, I just got to go direct to the ball. But when I thought, going like short to the ball like this, I was really like this. Like in my mind, I looked completely different from how I actually looked. And then that's how I learned that, oh, I need to feel like I'm like almost chopping wood or 45 degrees slashing to the ball to get to where I'm like actually on plane. And then a high school coach, actually Coach Starkey said this. He goes, it's not what I'm saying is not for you what I want you to physically do. I just want you in the mental mindset so that you're in the right position to do it. And a lot of kids have even adults have a hard time, adjusting that. Just because someone says like, A-Rod, I swing down at the ball. You got guys that will actually chop down on the ball.
Exactly.
I was like, that is not accurate at all. He just wants you in the mindset that I can't be under here. I just got to be on plane. And people can't put that together. But again, not, and this goes into another conversation, but not all players are good coaches, and not all good coaches were good players.
Yeah.
And you see that all the time.
What I was going to say, if you go and look at video footage though from Babe Ruth all the way up until now, they're all doing it. They're all getting the same hitting position. The barrel's getting the same. All of them are doing it the same. So you can, things look different, but if you break down a few points of them, all good hitters, all guys that hit 300 in the big leagues are all in the same positions.
Couldn't agree more.
And to simplify it for kids, I'm like, guys, you have a round ball, you have to hit it square, so you have to swing on plane with the ball. Like, you can't just swing up, you can't just chop down. I mean, wherever that is, because like the mound's naturally elevated. So whenever guys like A-Rod say they probably used to have an issue with popping the ball up. And so in their mind, they're like, I got to swing down because that ball is coming at a downward angle.
Do you remember Griffey's swing tee? The Griffey thing had the bars. Do you remember the angle of that thing?
Yeah.
It was down. And again, if you look at Griffey, he didn't swing down, but in his head, that's how he was short. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or what was it? I saw that Barry Bonds video where he was doing front toss or he was teaching Yelich how to do front toss, and he goes, you start by hit a one hopper to the L screen and then make it a short hop to the L screen and then hit the bottom and then work your way up. Like, that's how I get on plane. And he goes, I was like, you're trying to do that in a row. One, teaches back control, perfect back control. Because if you can do that, that's perfect back control, especially if it's up the middle. And then two, you're working on controlling on how that elevation and how your bat angle is working in real time to get to the most optimum blast point. And I was like, it's so simple and so genius that you would think the guy who hits one of the most home runs to ever live does a simple front toss drill to get him to where he needs to be.
I have found, and I don't know what has changed, but I used to coach a team when I was done playing back in Alabama, a little travel ball team, and those kids, man, they listened to every word I said. And I don't know if it's just because of how they were raised or what it is, but nowadays, and hopefully my parents don't listen to this podcast, but my players don't want to listen. They got it figured out. I'm like, all right, if you got it figured out, I won't help you then. Keep going 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Do your thing.
You got to do. I mean, I think a lot of it is, and I think these kids come in an era where a lot of the facilities, the knowledge, and just the overall game of baseball has kind of exploded to a point where they can get by and they don't have to do the mental hurdles that we had to do till a much older age. So they haven't gone through those trials and tribulations of necessarily failing to where to a degree that matters until they're 12, 13, 14. and then at that point it's high school. And then if you have mental hurdle issues in high school, good luck getting out of there because high school ball, believe it or not, if you want to play at the college level, is easy, compared to the college level. We all know it's super easy. But like, that's what I'm running into is like a lot of these kids don't want to listen. And then, it takes some sort of dramatic failure to pull them back. And I don't mean like, oh, you had a bad day at the park. I mean, it takes like, they blew the game. There's no other way. It's their fault. Like, it was their play to make. And it's a result of their lack of preparation or lack of ability to listen and execute. And then all of a sudden they want to lock back in. They have to get almost exposed
Right.
to wanna win and learn and listen, and then it's just tragic because you're just like, because some of those kids are good, and then they won't experience that till high school, so no one's gonna put up with that, and then it's too late. And I see that all the time.
Whenever you teach hitting, John, like, do you just keep it simple? I mean, do you do T work, front toss, overhand BP, maybe a little bit of machine stuff? Like, you don't use any kind of like, or do you use any kind of like tools or gadgets or any of this like
No.
new stuff? You just keep it
I
simple.
I I like I like side toss because I can see the hitter, and it's just visually it's good to see the hitter. T works obviously good too. You can get in trouble on the tee because I can stand on one foot with one eye closed and hit back netters all day long just because it's sitting still. So I don't overdo tee work. I do it with a purpose. Maybe I do like a high tee because maybe their bat's dragging under the ball. Side toss, I hate flips. I don't like underhand flips because it's not realistic. I'd rather, and later in my career, I started doing this where I'd rather, if you want short stuff, then have the coach sit there. And so it's still, you're picking up a release point off of the ear like a normal pitcher is. When do you ever hit a ball from down there? So and again, some guys love it. I personally hate flips and then BP. So like if I went to take Keaton to hit today, we
Hmm.
do side toss and then I would just throw to him. So I don't have any gadgets. I don't know what gadgets are out there, but
No, neither. I mean, honestly, me and Jordan, we keep it old school. And like, I think a lot of kids they use machines so much, and I think machines have their place for like velocity, or if you want to see like some
break
spinning
the ball
stuff.
machine, yeah.
Yeah, but like for the most part, I think seeing it out of a hand is so valuable.
100%. Matt, my older brother played in the Cubs organization, coached at Florida State, all that stuff. They did a thing called a fuzz machine, which was basically super high fastballs, gas, and it was the same idea to teach you to kind of get the barrel straight to the ball with no wasted
Yeah.
energy. So he
Yeah.
he loved that drill. I didn't do a ton of that. At Georgia Tech, they got a machine that it's a straight up pitcher. It's a video screen. It looks like a regular pitcher.
When I do machines, I mean, yeah, it's only for velocity. It's basically eye training. Just recalibrating your eyes, getting ready for the season. I mean, I don't like. I mean, it's good for two strike approaches. I mean, you're reacting to the ball. That's all it is. You can't time it up. But
Yeah,
a lot of kids are put on machines. Like, hey, get better. This is 70. But a lot of kids don't know how to read a pitcher. They don't know what to look for. They don't know how to read it. They don't know how to get their timing down on a basic level. And I think that's why machines are being used sometimes inappropriately or not correctly because you got kids that are going to machines trying to time up 85 on a machine at the age of 13. In reality, they can't hit 65 because they don't know how to read a pitcher or read a ball when it's coming into them in the batter's box. And like that's my only issue with it, sometimes when you have these young kids doing it.
Yeah, I think it bothers me whenever I see the kids like our high schoolers, Jordan, like throw the AirPods in and they just hit out the machine for 20 minutes on like 75, 80, and they're blasting it to the back of the cage, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done for the day." I'm like, "Okay, what's the quality there?" But John, any kind of like, just kind of leaving this pod, like any kind of advice that you'd have to the younger generation that was like, hey, like
Or parents.
or parents, right, that want to play baseball at a high level.
yeah. I'd say that kind of going back to what I was said before. Wake up every day with an intention to get better. And now I'm not even a baseball player. I don't do anything with the game of baseball other than coach my son. But it wasn't a waste of time. The work ethic, the really learning how to deal with different people from diverse backgrounds and being a teammate. It's taught me leadership skills. So really, it's not going to be in vain anyways. If you work really, really, really hard and all you do is play a year of JUCO baseball, it's not in vain because you're learning things along the way that are going to help you in life beyond the game. And then really remind yourself it's a game. It's not everything. There's life after baseball and outside of baseball. I think that's extremely important. There's a lot of people that don't realize that, and it's such a short window of our life compared to everything else that we can do. Remember that it's a game and there's going to be other things beyond it.
That's powerful, John. I really appreciate that, man. And dude, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast with us. I know we've been bugging you for a little while now, and dude, we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll be in touch soon. Jessica and I are going to be in Florida next year. We hope we can visit you guys on the way down to Orlando.
Awesome.
And get you on the pod again sometime.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, appreciate it. See ya.
Have a great one, man.
5, 4, 3,